Okay, so I think we're good to make a start now. So Nimesh, did you want to start us off?
Yes, absolutely. So I'd like to introduce Amit Sodha. So I've actually known him for approaching 1 year. Very much highly recommended in what he does, as you'll see. And by way of background, he's actually had a background in risk management in the investment banking world, where he's ran teams and departments ensuring the bank risks were managed to allow full and proper growth of the business. He's worked at places such as ICBC, Standard Bank, RBS, and Goldman Sachs International for over 14 years. And over the past 3 years, he's been a fully qualified business coach and worked with hundreds of businesses. Some of those I know myself, of different shapes and sizes and industries, helping business owners to earn more profits, become more efficient, and ultimately become able to spend more time enjoying their personal lives. He's presented to audiences of HSBC, Metro Bank, Barclays, and plenty of local councils. So we're glad to have him with us today, and do take the chance to have a one-to-one with him if you can following this webinar. I would highly recommend it to you. So Amit, over to you.
Thank you very much, Nimesh. It's really nice to be here. And first of all, well done and welcome to everyone that's joined the actual webinar itself. I mean, it's Wednesday, it's slap bang in the middle of the day, and you could be anywhere right now. You could have been taking the dog for a walk, gone out for lunch, or been working away, but you chose to be here, understanding the key opportunities in your business to grow your business. So it says a lot about the attention you're paying for your self-development and the growth of your business. So let's start off by giving all of you guys a massive round of applause for joining on. An absolute massive well done. So, somebody far smarter than me once said that you can spend all your money, but you can earn it back. But once you spend all your time, it's never coming back. So well done to you guys once again for spending your time to work on yourself and on your business by attending this webinar. Now, the interactive part. Now, studies show that interactivity in a lesson or a workshop typically boosts retention by up to 80%. So being interactive boosts your knowledge and retention by up to 80%. Whereas if you just took notes and were passive, it drops down, your retention drops down to 20%. Whereas if we just listened, retention drops down to 7%. So let's get typing straight into the chat box, guys. Are we happy to be just a tiny bit interactive today? So we've got 2 people on the webinar today right now, 3 in fact. So Jyoti, Jason, and Catherine, type into the chat box. Are you happy to be just a tiny bit interactive today? And I'm going to get my stopwatch on so I'll make sure I run on time and not overboard. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much. Brilliant. So let's get started. First of all, let's start off with a few questions. A few questions straight into the chat box to get our fingers and our brains warmed up and ready to rumble. Got a couple of small questions. First of all, are you from within London or outside of London? Are you from within London or outside of London? Let's type that into the chat box. Where are you from? Excellent. Within London, Nimesh, we know you're from outside of within London as well. We're partly outside London, depending on whether you count where you are coming from. Good. Second question is, are you the owner of a business or are you working in a business? Let's get a sense of what type of business owner you are. Are you the owner of a business or are you working within a business with somebody else? Working within a business, smashing. And let's type into the chat box as well. What kind of business are you currently working in? What's the industry related to? Is it a restaurant trade? Is it the leisure industry? Is it the retail industry? What industry are you working in right now? E-commerce business, accountancy business, fantastic. So we've got a range of businesses around here, e-commerce to accountancy, and let's see where we can take this to. So the agenda for today, there shouldn't be any surprises here. The agenda is at least six opportunities to better your business this spring. Strongly recommend that you have your pen and your notebooks with you today, because there'll be plenty of opportunities to write lots of notes. Also love webinars to be interactive, so feel free to type questions into the quick Q&A box, into the chat box, whatever you find comfortable. The more questions you ask, the better as well. And as we go along, Nimesh will help me moderate the question and answer box. So if there are questions I need to answer right away, I'll do that right away. Otherwise, we shall wait until the end if that need be, but typically we'll answer them right away. Next is a bit of a disclaimer, a small disclaimer. There are many ways to skin a cat and many ways to, run a successful business. Now, what I'll be sharing with you guys today has worked with thousands of other businesses up and down the country. So guys, take what's relevant for you and turn it into the right kind of action points for you. Now, what we'll do is in just a few minutes, we'll start going through at least six things that you can do in your business to help you get the best out of your business this spring. But before we get started, I need some permission from everyone. From everyone, and that is, can I be your coach for the next hour or so? Show of hands or type into the chat box. Can I be your coach for the next hour or so of this webinar? A quick answer in the chat box, a Q&A. Great stuff. Thank you very much for raising your hands. So great. As a coach, my role will be not only to share ideas and thoughts and suggestions, but also to help ask thought-provoking questions, which lead to actions. So please take time to note down these actions as you go along, because that's the only way you'll get some learnings from this webinar to drive your business forwards. And finally, there'll be a lot of content in this webinar. So I'm pretty sure, as I mentioned before, please have your notebooks and your pens ready to write lots of notes. And I will be talking a bit fast, though I will try and calm down and slow down as well from time to time. So, like I said, what we're going to be going through today are at least six opportunities for growth in your business. But before we can take a look at, what makes a really good business and how to actually get your business in that great position, let's start thinking about the traits of a struggling business. Let's think about traits of a struggling business. So let's go straight into the chat box and get interactive. Let's type in what traits would you identify with a struggling business? And let's spend 30 seconds on this, just typing in what kind of traits you identify with a struggling business. So let's see what we get from here. Yep, poor staff retention, very good. Staff leaving all the time. Excellent. What else? What else comes to mind? Yep, low or no profits. Very good. Great suggestion there. What else comes to mind? Really good. Not getting new business, absolutely. Yep, just stuck with existing same clients, not getting new leads. Yep, really good. Low on sales, absolutely great point there. Low on sales. So yeah, we've got a good few healthy answers there around low sales, no new customers, struggling with time. That's another one. Struggling with staff retention. So let's take a look at a few more traits of a struggling business. As you guys said correctly, profit levels lower than desired, not always living the lifestyle that you truly desire. Hamster wheeling is another popular one. Little upward progress, just keeping busy, not really moving upwards and onwards. Constantly out of time. There's so much to do all by yourself, but you're always running late. That's another example or trait of a business that's struggling. Here's a classic, working harder than your staff and maybe not getting paid as much as them. That's another trait of a struggling business. Low return on marketing, when we're just spending plenty of money on marketing all the time, plowing away, but we're not feeling getting the rewards of marketing. Customers turning you down, when you get that "I'll get back to you" sentence. That's another trait of a business that's facing a bit of challenge right now. Little time for your family and leisure, working evenings, working weekends, and just being constantly consumed by the business. Another trait of this business that's not where it needs to be. And another one, little time for personal development, where you start to see that, learning is a luxury and not an essential. That's a sign of a business that's struggling. And finally, it all comes down to you. Team problems, customer issues, supplier issues, being a parent or husband or a father, whatever it is, it all comes down to you. So does any of this sound like something you've been through or going through right now? Or do you know other business owners that are going through this? Ask yourself that question. So if those are the traits of a struggling business, here's the next question. So now let's take a look at the other side of the coin. What's your definition of a successful business? Again, guys, let's go typing into the chat box or the Q&A box. What's your idea or what's your definition of a successful business? Yep, great answer there. Returning customers, high sales. Yep, high profitability, providing great service. Yep, absolutely. Solving a problem in the world. Absolutely. Solving a problem for the world. Doing more for others than for yourself. Yep, a very good answer there as well. Great. So yeah, some really good points over there. Really good points. So recognized by others, absolutely, is a great sign of a successful business. So what's ActionCOACH's definition of a successful business? Our definition is a commercial, profitable business that can work without you. A commercial, profitable business that can work without you. A commercial meaning it serves a purpose, solves a problem. Profitable business, well, we know what that means, cash coming into the pocket and in the bank account, that can work without you. So why would anybody want a business that has the ability to work without them? I mean, a couple of reasons that I can think of are such because so that being the boss, you can actually look after your staff. As a human being, you can spend more time with your family and your friends and do more leisure activities, or even go into more environmental pursuits or whatever you fancy. But ultimately, if you have a business that can work without you, you've got more free time. And if you don't build a business that can work without you, typically you end up just creating yourself a job. So what we're going to go through in this webinar are the 6 steps to a business that can work without you, especially now that we're coming out of the pandemic, especially now that we've got a fresh start ahead of us, often involving a massive lot of re-engineering. We'll go through the 6 steps to get your business working without you. And within these 6 steps, there are going to be plenty of more other smaller sub-steps, which will definitely help you along the way. Good morning. We just had a few more people joining, so well done and welcome on board. Guys, what I'm going to do is just reiterate, we've got the chat box, we've got the Q&A box. Please feel free to type in questions along the way. Nimesh will moderate that along the way and help me know when there's questions coming in. But it's an interactive webinar. Please feel free to type answers into the chat box as we go along. So where was I again? Yes, talking about the 6 steps to build a business that can work without you. And these are signifying the 6 opportunities. So the first level is called the mastery. And mastery is all about turning chaos to control. During lockdown or even prior to that, how many of you ever felt that your business was running you rather than you running a business? So this first phase's main help is to help business owners get to a point where there is more proactivity and less firefighting. And when we go into this phase in a bit more detail, we'll talk about 4 key areas. The first area we'll talk about is called D. D stands for destination mastery. So the first question we've got to ask ourselves are, where are you going with your business and how will you get there? The next part of mastery is T, for time mastery. How will I create the time to work on my business? We're going to figure that out. How will you create the time to do all this growth? The next thing is N, for numbers mastery, or we can call it finance mastery. That's where Nimesh's expertise can come in and help. But that's all about knowing your numbers. And we all know in business, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. So what numbers should you be monitoring to help grow your business? And we'll talk in more detail about this. And finally, D, for delivery mastery. Are you ensuring you're delivering your business consistently from front to back with every customer you work with? Is every staff member on point, as sharp as possible, to deliver your business? And are there any weak pegs in there? So that's all about the mastery level of the business, which is all about turning your business from chaos to control. Because once the next stage is building a predictable cash flow. Building a predictable cash flow. Once we've got a solid business, we can think about, right, how can we get more predictable cash flow coming into the business? And that's going to be explained in the niche phase. Now, niche is all about marketing, sales, and generating a consistent cash flow. As Nimesh would attest to, cash flow is probably the number one thing which causes sleepless nights for customers. So the question over here is, how can we build a business so that we've got consistent cash flow, but also consistently growing cash flow? And we'll be spending a lot of time on this phase as well in the next hour or so. Next is all about building efficiency, the leverage phase. Leverage is all about designing systems so we can do more with less. It's all about gaining efficiency. So there's less reliance on you, so you can eventually step away from the business. And as you come out of lockdown, how are you redesigning and future-proofing your systems and slowly stepping away? That's what we're taking a look at in the leverage stage of the opportunities. Then, once we've got an efficient business, we're going to take a look at, right, how do I save time now and create a structure for growth? And that's where we need to take a look at the team. To have a business that works without us, we can't just do it all by ourselves. We need the right bums on seat. We want the right bums on seat, not just any old bums on seat, because we want to create a structure for growth. If we don't create a structure for growth, we end up having to grow ourselves. So we need to get the right people. So the questions over here is, how do we recruit? Who do we recruit? And how do we get the best out of them? And that's what this fourth section is all about. And after that, we've actually got a very good business, a business that runs the systems, that generates the profits, that runs a commercial business. Then we can think about, right, what's next? It's about creating a well-oiled machine. And the synergy stage is all about multiplying your business across the region and also internationally, if that's what you want to do as well. And finally, by this stage, we have reached the freedom stage, when you're actually working like an investor. This is when you receive a passive income and reach investor level. And your business operates like a financial asset, just like bonds and shares that pay you a consistent dividend or a coupon, whether you're working or not, whether you're sleeping or not. This stage in the business where your business is operating without you, paying you money, whether or not you're in bed or not. So what we're going to do now is spend more time going through these 6 steps. And as we go along, I'm going to be asking lots of thought-provoking questions for you to jot down actions. So let's get rolling. As I mentioned, the first thing we'll do is we'll take a look at the mastery stage. And there are 4 key areas of mastery: destination mastery, time, money, and delivery mastery. So let's get started with destination mastery. And here is a dream house. Or well, here is my dream house. So guys, let's get typing straight into the chat box. What's the first thing we need before we can build our dream house? What's the first thing we need before we can build our dream house? Let's type that into the chat box, please. Chat box, a Q&A box, let's type away. I've got one eye on my timer just to make sure we're running on time. Just a quick 30-second exercise. What's the first thing you need before you build your dream house? I'm gonna have a look. Money, absolutely, money is very important, but is it the first thing we need? Yeah, we need money. What else do we need? Ideas, very good. Plan for the property. Foundation I see as well. Okay, good. Good money, foundation, plans for property. Absolutely great suggestions over there. So the first thing we actually need is a vision. We need a vision of what the house will look like, starting with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey says. First, once we've got the vision, then we need an architectural plan and a construction plan showing how the house will be produced and completed. Then we also need to know how we'll deal with all the complications and issues that may arise, all the contingencies, etc., etc. So that's pretty vital when we're building a house, knowing what the house will look like and how we're going to build it. So when it comes to building a business, and I ask business owners, what's the vision of your business? Where will your business be in 90 days, 6 months, or 1 year's time? Do you have a month-by-month strategic plan of growing a business? What answer do you reckon we typically get back? Typically lots of blank faces, because a lot of business owners, for some reason, don't spend time thinking about what's the vision of their business in 1 year's time, 3 years, or 5 years' time. Given that we're now coming out of lockdown, this is a fantastic opportunity for us to think about, right, reset, refresh, restart. What does the new business need to look like? So the question to you is, what's going to be the vision of your business for the next 1, 3, 5 years, or even longer? And once we've got that, we've got to think about the mission, rethink our mission. On what principles and approaches will you be rebuilding your business? We're also going to think about the strategic approach of how we're going to grow it week by week and month by month. Just like how a builder knows how many bricks is laying on the house every week, do we as the business builders know how we're growing our business? And finally, the culture. How important is culture to businesses, right? We all know that. How will your working culture need to change for the new norm in your industry? And are words such as empathy, sympathy, empowerment all included in your culture statement? Because that is now becoming the new norm. And also, are your team members living up to these standards? What kind of training do we need to do to get our team members living up to these standards? Now, with all the clients we work with, we've completely revamped their vision, their mission, and the culture, as well as the strategy to adapt to the new norm in their industry, whether it's retail, whether it's in the medical industry, whether it's in construction. So think about your business. How can you, what kind of changing do you need to do to the vision, the mission, and the culture of your business? As Stephen Covey always says, start with the end in mind. And now that we're coming out of lockdown, it's a brilliant time to start with the end in mind of where you want your business. So at this stage, guys, what we'll do is pause for a minute. And what I'd like you to do is just think about what's your new destination. This is Destination Master. We're going to spend some time thinking about destination. So we'll pause it for a minute and think about what's your new destination for your business. What kind of changes do you need to make to your vision for your business? Your mission statement, do we need to change any principles and approaches of how you're going to achieve the vision? Or finally, do you want to take an action to spend more time thinking about how your business needs to change every week by week, month by month? So we'll spend a minute over here pausing for you to just make some notes and jot down any key actions that you're taking away for your business. And if you do think of any actions you want to take, feel free to note them down into the chat box as well. Sometimes as business owners, we just need that quiet time to spend and think. This is your time. Another 20 more seconds to think about your destination. Excellent. So let's move on now to time mastery. So do we need to become better at managing our time? Do we need to become better at time management? The answer? Absolutely not. Why, you may ask? Because we can't manage time. Time is always moving. It doesn't stop and breathe and wait for anyone. We can't get better at managing time. What we can get better at is managing ourselves and managing our teams to become more productive and more proactive. Help ourselves, help our teams to do things in a better order. So firstly, let's get started off with the business owner. Are they dedicating a specific time slot during the week to work on the business rather than in the business? And if you are working on the business, are you doing it consistently? And who's holding you to account? Because if we don't grow the business as business owners, who will? So the first point to think about is, as a business owner, are you holding yourself to account to spend a certain amount of time every week, every month, whatever it is, to work on the business? Secondly, is do you maintain a to achieve list? Not a to-do list, a to achieve list. A to-do list is very task focused. Do this, do that, call this person, have this meeting. We can't focus too much on the do's, we've got to focus on the achieves. What is it we're looking to achieve? So do you maintain a to achieve list? Slight change in mentality over there. And if you do, show of hands who's maybe read or heard of the book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Type into the chat box if you've heard of that book. Yep, seeing a hand go up over there. So yeah, it's a very impressive book. What I'd like to do is share with you a few things, a few strategies from that book that he strongly recommends. So he's got something called the 4Ds. And here's how the 4Ds goes. When you have a to achieve list, like a big list of things you've got to get done, categorize into 4 key buckets. First of all, the do's. What do you need to do? Next is dump. What do you need to dump? What's not going to get you anywhere? What's not going to move you forward? What's not going to let you hit those goals? Next is delegate. We can do anything, but we can't do everything. Who do we need to get involved and start delegating to? That's the 4th category of things on your to-do list. And the 5th category, so that's the 3rd category of things on your to-do list. And the 4th category is defer. What can wait until later on? What can be pushed back? See, when it comes to the do part, assign monetary values. If you have a big to-do list of loads of things to do on there, put a monetary value on how much that thing is worth to you and your pockets and your business. That'll help to get a sense of priority. Like we said, it's very easy to want to do everything, but we can't. And finally, are you planning tomorrow today? Is your brain mentally prepared for tomorrow so as to minimize procrastination? So key takeaway is, we can do anything, but we can't do everything. What do you need to delegate? And here's a great quote by Jim Rohn. Don't spend major time on minor things. Don't spend major time on minor things, or spend minor time on major things. So let's pause it for a second, guys, and spend a minute. And in your notebooks, what I'd like you to write down for yourself is, in your business, what minor thing are you spending major time on? In your business or in your jobs, what minor thing are you spending major time on? Because that's one thing that's probably holding you back achieving what you should be achieving. So let's spend a minute, time for you, reflect, writing down what minor things are you spending major time on. And in fact, we're a team, we're all one. Please feel free to share your action points into the chat box. The more we share, the more we learn. So share your actions into the chat box of what item you're spending a lot of time on and what you can do about it. For example, one thing I was spending major time on was rescheduling and rebooking coaching sessions. So I had to get myself an assistant to do that all for me. Spending like an hour a day removing, changing meetings takes up an hour. Got rid of that task. So what can you do? Okay, so let's move on to the 3rd area of mastery, which is called money mastery. So what I'd like you to do is imagine, put your thinking caps on, your imagination caps on, imagine that you're driving from London to the beautiful city of Edinburgh. And along the way, I'm sure you'll all agree, we need to take a look at your car dashboard from time to time, right? Because, we're going on a long and dangerous journey that's really, really fast. We'll have to take a look at the car dashboard from time to time. So let's type into the chat box, when you're going on a journey from London to Edinburgh, what kind of things do you need to look out for in your dashboard on your car? What kind of things do you have to look out for on the dashboard for your car as you're driving for 6 hours from London to Edinburgh? Yep, speed, whether you're going too fast or too slow. There are people that go too slow at times. I know, Nimesh, you obviously going very fast at times. Fuel, yep. Are we running out of fuel? Tire pressure, yep. How's the tire pressure looking? Very good point. Yeah, take a look at the sat nav. Are we going in the right direction? Absolutely. Great idea. Great point there. So yeah, brilliant. So when you're traveling from London to Edinburgh, traveling so fast, we need to track our progress and track the risks, right? So when it comes to the beautiful journey of our business, why is it so many business owners don't track too much on their business? So the question to ask yourself is, do you have a dashboard for your business? A dashboard for your business that lets you track metrics in the 5 key departments of your business. So let's start off by taking a look at this. What are the 5 key departments in your business that you're going to track metrics for? First of all, marketing. Tracking things such as the number of leads generated, your spend, your return on investment. What's your best strategy? Are you tracking these numbers for marketing? The second department in your business is sales. We need to figure out what's your calculated, not guessed, but calculated conversion rate. What's your revenue banked? What are your salespeople's targets? Are they meeting their targets? Number 3 is operations. How many complaints are we receiving? How many refunds are we doing? And what are the exact reasons for refunds? Do we have all these things written down on your dashboard, on your business dashboard? Number 3 is finance. Have you spoken to your accountant to tell you what your exact break-even point is? Your stock turn, your liquidity ratios. All these numbers are really important now that we're coming out of lockdown, because for a lot of businesses, your break-even points, your liquidity ratios have all changed. And should the worst happen, it's very important to know where your business stands. So think about this. Do you have these numbers visible in front of you in your dashboard? And finally, the HR department. We all have an HR department in our business, whether we're a one-man band or whether we've got 50, and that department looks after us and our people. Are you tracking your and your team's development? As the environment changes, as sales methods change, as marketing methods change, as health and safety changes, are you tracking how well you guys are learning and developing? Because in order to have more, you've got to do more. But in order to do more, you've got to be more. Are you improving your behaviors and your habits? So your HR department to track your personal progress. Because without facts, we make decisions based on gut. And gut stands for giving up thinking. I'm pretty sure we're not here to give up thinking, so we're going to avoid thinking by gut. Now, we all know that revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. So what's your cash position right now? A key thing to think about is what's your cash position? Without knowing this, how can you make the right investment choices, the right hiring, firing choices? And if we don't do this, we're going to go back into firing mode. So as we come out of lockdown, what will the cash flow look like based on the new norm for your business? As you come out of lockdown, what will the cash flow look like in your business for the new norm? So at this stage, let's pause for a minute over here as well and note down what's the key takeaway for you. What's your number one learning? What's your number one point of action? Do you have any new metrics you want to track to pad up your dashboard for this business journey going on? Do you have a cash flow forecast statement? There are plenty of tools out there, but I'm sure myself and Nimesh can give you like spreadsheets you can start using to just get you going and looking at your cash flow forecast. So we'll spend a minute over here just thinking about what's your key number one action and takeaway. And if you like, share it into the chat box. Because once you shared something, it means you're accountable to get it done. And that's my role as a coach, to keep you accountable to get things done. So this is the third area of mastery. We've got one more area of mastery to take a look at. You should have 3 action points so far. Okay, so moving on. And obviously the quote, what gets measured gets managed, and what gets managed can improve. So what are you measuring in your business? Now, delivery mastery, that's the fourth and final area of mastery. And the key word here is consistency. Is your service being delivered to the customer with consistency? And consistency is, there's an abbreviation to help summarize what the word consistency stands for in business. It stands for IFOTIS. Are you delivering in full, on time, and in spec every single time? Now, the kings of consistency are McDonald's. Do they make the best burgers in the world? No. Are they the most consistent every time? Absolutely yes. So they're always meeting their target market's needs all the time. So the question to you is, what is your customer experience like? Not what you think it's like, what is it actually like? And at this stage, you may consider wanting to do a mystery shop. Mystery shops work really, really well for you to figure out exactly what's your customer experience like for your business. Now, when it comes to delivery mastery, we work with clients in 4 key areas. The first area is called supply mastery. How are you ensuring that all elements of supplying your product or service is consistent and systemized? For example, if ingredient A is out of stock, what's plan B to ensure that you're producing and not stopping sales? Next thing is what we call is quality mastery. What checks do you have in place to ensure that your product is of the right quality and you're doing the right spot checks to ensure that it's consistency in your products and services? Or are you just taking your staff member's word for it? Not the best place to go down. Or worse yet, are you waiting for a customer to complain before we do something about it? So over here, we will think about is, right, what are we doing to ensure the quality of our business stays where we need it to stay? The third area is easy to buy mastery. How complex is it for an innocent customer off the street to come and buy one of your products? Do they understand what's on your website? Now, I'll be honest, law firms, and I don't mean to offend anyone, law firms, for many bright people in the general public, is really difficult to understand. You can go on their website and half the things that they've written about the services they provide, the average Joe's not going to understand what on earth half these services are. So they're going to probably not even buy them even if they need them. They're going to go to the next website and the next website until they come across a website or a law firm that actually talks in the language of its consumers. So they're not very easy to buy. So the thing over here is to think about how easy is it to buy your product or service? How easy is your product? How easy is your buying process for your end users? And the final area of mastery is supply or service mastery. This is where we just need to get the basics right. So all of your team members meeting and greeting the customers properly. Is the level of enthusiasm in your business the same as yours? Because we need to get these 4 areas of mastery right before we can start thinking about the wow factor in your business. So the question to ask yourself is, what wow factor have you purposely built into your businesses? And do customers currently see your wow factor? And ask yourself the question, if you were to strip off the logo and the branding from your website, would you be the same as your competitor or quite different? See, after COVID-19, given the levels of empathy and sympathy in the market, giving great service is the norm. So you can't say my wow factor is my great service because that's just the norm now. So we're going to think about, right, what tangible, actual, physical wow factor could you add to your business? So let's pause it for 30 seconds for you to note down, what action do you think you need to take from delivery mastery? Which of these 4 areas of delivery mastery do you think you may need to focus a bit on? Or even what wow factor do you want to bring into your business? And as Jim Rohn says, the profitability of the business depends on how well the employees consistently perform critical activities. How well trained are your employees to perform those critical activities? So pause it for a minute for you to note down any actions. Again, if you have any questions, please type them into the chat box. More than happy to answer those along the way. Okay, let's move on. Now that our business is in order, we have a commercial business, right? We've worked on the mastery side of the business. We've taken a look at that. We now have a commercial business. Now let's take a look at moving up a level and trying to build some profitability and get a predictable cash flow. So we're going to move on to the niche part of business. So let's talk through a scenario. Let's imagine there's a parade of shops on a high street and there are 3 pizza takeaway restaurants or 3 pizza takeaway outlets. Pretty much all have the same menu, pretty much all have the same quality. Which one is likely to make the most amount of sales is the question. That's right, it's going to be the one that's the cheapest. Same pizzas, same quality. It's going to be the one that's the cheapest, that's typically going to make the most amount of money, ceteris paribus. So naturally, that leads to a price war, slashing prices. And if we get into a price war with our customers because we have the same, if we get into a price war with our competitors because we have very similar products and services, how many winners can there be? Just one, right? And did businesses go into business to enjoy a price war? And since when did going into a price war become a winning tactic, especially if we're not the size of Walmart or, Asda or something? So, and every time we do go into a price war, what type of customers do we attract? Discounted customers. Customers that want discount, those are the kind of ones that we attract. And do we really want to be doing business with discounted customers all the time? Not really, right? So in ActionCOACH, to a certain degree, we ban price competition. We ban price competition, and instead we work on helping clients develop a niche so that consumers are not comparing apples to apples, but they're comparing apples to mangoes. So price competition is completely out the window. So at this stage, you're probably asking, well, how do I create my own niche? And at this point, I'll talk you through a couple of things that we work with our clients on, something which you can probably adopt too. First of all, strongly define a USP so you don't compete on price. What can make you different from your competitors so you're not being compared to them? And secondly, well, before anybody parts money with you for the first time, they're probably going to be skeptical. They may do some price comparisons. They may go and look at your competitors before somebody goes and purchases from you, generally speaking. So the question over here is they may not fully trust us yet. How do we get over this skepticism? One great technique is to slap on a guarantee. Guarantee the product or service that you provide. Now, if you're very confident, very happy with your service, and you think, do you know what? We're doing a great job. We can guarantee what we're really happy with our product or service. Why not guarantee it? Think about the frustrations a typical customer sees in your industry. What kind of guarantee can you provide that you're going to be helping to minimize those frustrations? And when we work with our clients, one of the first things we do is we take them to a 34-step process to define their USP or perceived USP and help them create guarantees. So in ActionCOACH, depending on what coaching program you take on, we guarantee that your revenue will go up by at least your investment in coaching in the first 6 to 12 months. And if not, we work for you free until it does. So that makes it a no-brainer for people that want to take on coaching. So the question for you is, what guarantees can you offer in your business? And if you'd like to explore and have a brainstorm or a chat with what kind of guarantees you can offer, feel free to get in touch with me. Typically every week I set aside a few sessions to help business owners brainstorm on what they can do. Feel free to book in a session with me, but think about your business. What guarantees can you offer to just increase your conversion rate that extra bit more? So when it comes to niche, we've spoken about 2 key things, creating a USP and having guarantees. Now, what I want to talk you through now is called the 5 ways marketing plan. Now, this part of the webinar gets really exciting. So if you haven't made any notes so far, strongly recommend you make some notes going forwards. And what we'll go through now is, like I mentioned at the beginning, we'll go through a marketing framework that will help you get consistent results. Now, the beauty of this, this plan I want to take you through is that all it requires is weekly actions, small weekly step-by-step actions, which accumulate into massive gains by the end of the year. And it's 100% applicable to every single business. So, where did you write this down? Let's go for it. It's called the 5 ways marketing strategy. Now, in every business, Do we want more customers? Yeah. Do we want more revenue? Yeah. And do we want more profit? Yes. But the question over here is, are these the most important things in any business? The answer is no, because these are all outputs. Customers, revenue, and profits are all outputs because there's an equal sign in front of it all. So the question then is, if that's the output, what's the input? Well, to get customers, we need to take a look at the number of leads we're generating and our conversion rate. Leads times conversion rate equals customers. So we're going to focus on getting more leads and increasing our conversion. Then how do we go from customers to revenue? Well, customers, we're going to think we've got to multiply that by the number of transactions they do with us and how much they spend with us. And that will take us to revenue. And then we're going to think, right, how do we go from revenue to profit? Well, that's simple. Multiply by your profit margins or remove all the fixed and variable costs. So this is what we call the 5 ways marketing strategy. It takes us right from the inception of leads all the way down to profit. So the question then is, what do we do with this? How does this work? So we're going to just plow some numbers in there to bring it to life so you can start seeing how this works and what it is. So let's just imagine that we run a bakery, a nice luxury high-end bakery in North Finchley somewhere, and yeah, we run a nice bakery. And let's model this equation on the bakery. Let's assume that it's on a high street and the bakery receives 4,000 leads a year. And the definition of a lead is somebody that shows interest in your business, visits your website, takes your business card, takes your menu, somebody just interacts with your business. That's the definition of a lead. So he gets 4,000 leads a year, assuming 250 days a year. That works out to about 8 leads a day, which is pretty normal for a cake shop on a high street. But by the way, I'm using very simple round numbers so that I can compute them without a calculator. So let's just imagine we've got 4,000 leads a year, and with a conversion rate of 25%, a standard typical conversion of 25%, which means this bakery gets 1,000 customers a year. Now let's assume that each customer buys twice from them, buys 2 cakes a year from them, a birthday cake and an anniversary cake, or a birthday cake and a congratulations, you passed your exam cake, whatever cakes we want to eat these days. That's the average number of transactions per customer. And then let's assume that each transaction is £100 a go. We get a nice big cake for a big party, and yeah, they're using fresh ingredients, all that kind of stuff. So £100 a cake, again, we're using easy numbers. That leads to a revenue of £200,000. Multiply that by our profit margins of 25%, say, leads to a profit of £50,000. So the question here is, brilliant. Okay, so Amit, you've shown us a formula and you've broken down a business from front to back. Now what do we do? See, the beauty of this is we need to work on increasing each of the 5 departments in blue. We need to work on increasing each of the 5 departments in blue. How can we increase the number of leads by a small portion every month or every week? How can we improve our conversion? How can we get each customer to buy more from us? How can we find better ways of doing upselling and cross-selling to increase our prices or the average sell? And how can you improve our profit margins? You see, when we work with our clients, we help each client choose at least 3 strategies to increase the number of leads, 3 strategies to increase their conversion, like, for example, offering guarantees, 3 strategies for how you can get more transactions done by each customer in the year, 3 strategies for how you can increase your prices, etc., etc., etc. So the question to ask yourself is, if you applied 3 strategies to each of these 5 areas in your business for an entire year, and we worked on it bit by bit every week, what percentage increase do you feel you can achieve in each of these 5 areas? Now, if you were live, I would ask you guys in person what amount you think you'd be able to achieve. Some people said, do you know what, Amit? I reckon I could achieve a 50% increase in each of these 5 areas if I applied 3 strategies and worked them consistently. Some people say, no, not 50 for me, 30. Some will say, no, not 30 for me, 10. Let's go with a small menial increase of 10. Let's imagine that we work on all 5 of these areas in blue, and we look to improve all 5 areas by just 10%. So now, number of leads, 4,000. increase that by 10%. We got 4,400 leads in the year, just 400 more leads in the year. We then think about conversion rate. If you worked on some strategies to increase your conversion, having better sales scripts, having a USP and a guarantee, your conversion rate should go up by 10%, not from 25 to 35, but 22.5, a mean 2.5% jump. Doable, right? Then ask yourself, okay, what's the new amount of customers I'm going to get? It goes to 1,210. Now, 1,210 customers, we could think about, right, how do we get them on average buying 10% more from us? So rather than each customer transacting twice, how can we get it to 2.2 times? Get a 10% increase in number of transactions. Same with the price. How can we increase our USP to make our cakes the best cakes and non-comparable cakes so we can increase our prices a bit? Because if we do that and achieve that during the course of the year, our revenue levels go up to 292, 820. That's a 46% increase in revenue just by working on these 4 areas in blue and getting them all to go up by 10%. And that's the kind of strategy we use with our clients to start improving. So as we're coming out of lockdown, guys, how can you revamp your marketing strategy to start seeing such incremental gains? Small incremental gains. That's what it's all about. And then profit margins, one of the most easiest and simplest and cheapest area to work on. What can you do to boost your profit margins? Talking to your accountant like Nimesh or whatever accountant you're using, they can help you identify key areas of cost savings. And we help with clients as well to improve their efficiency in products and efficiency and services, systems rather. And if you do that, that would take your profit to £80,000, 520. So the question here is, well, the point here is that's a 46% increase in revenue and a 61% increase in profits. So the question to you is, do you want to see a 61% increase in your profits over the next year as we come out of lockdown? And if so, that's the formula to work on. There's 5 areas in blue. Grab me. Happy to have a one-to-one with you to show you what kind of strategies you can have in your business. Now, at the end of the session, what I will do is drop my email into the chat box. Feel free to get in touch with me, and we can explore what kind of strategies could you use to help you see these kind of gains. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? I'm going to pause it for literally 30 seconds. Feel free to unmute yourself or type into the chat box or question box. No? Okay, let's plow on. So now what we've done is we have a commercial, profitable business. When we focus on a niche, we build ourselves a profitable business. Now what do we do? After we've got a profitable business, we need to start investing the money back into the business and work on the leverage side. Thinking about systems so we can start saving time. And leverage is all about doing more with less. Leverage is all about systems. So what does system stand for? The word system stands for, you want to write this down, save yourself time, energy, and money. Save yourself time, energy, and money. So the question to you is, with your new approach to doing business post-lockdown, what systems will you need to engineer, or even what tweaks do you need to make to your systems to adapt to the new norm? It's a key thing to think about and take away. What systems do you need? I don't mean computer systems, but processes. Now, often when I hear from business owners, they say to me, Amit, we can't build systems in our business because all our customers mean a lot to us, and we've got to give them all an individual, unique treatment, and we take pride in our tailored service, and we have intelligent staff members. We don't need systems. They can figure it out themselves. Well, my response is, of course you can do that. Of course you can treat everyone differently, et cetera, et cetera. But if that's what we're going to accept, then we're also going to accept that without systems, our business will always be reliable on us or a few key important staff members, making their life horrid. So the question to you is, do you want to minimize too much reliance on you or your key staff members and start to train the whole business up to work more consistently? So the question over here is, you see, when it comes to systems, we need to apply the 80-20 rule. That's not Pareto's 80-20 rule. This rule, 80-20 rule, is essentially that in majority of businesses, it's possible to systemize 80% of the processes and leave the remaining 20% to human management. So once again, the 80-20 rule is systemize the routine and humanize the exception. That's a key statement to write down for you and your staff members. You should be able to systemize 80% of the routine tasks and humanize the rest to turn into exception. So when it comes to building systems in a business, there are four key areas to think about. So when we work with our clients, the 4 areas we work on to help them build systems is, first of all, test and measure. What KPI and stats systems do they need to create, and how will they use those decisions in meetings to make key business changing decisions? So they're making decisions on fact and not to numbers. So think about what systems do you have to build around getting more numbers into your business. The next is people and education. What systems will you need to create to develop your people and also manage and lead them? We've got to have a system around that. Their training, their development, their discipline, their managing, the meetings, team structure, communication strategy. Delivery and distribution. How can you ensure that your product or service is executed at the highest possible standard all the time? And what systems and processes do you have in place? We started working with a huge dental business with 5 dental practices. They had to put in 80 new systems and processes to help them operate more robustly. Now they're on track to hit 20 new practices, or 20 total practices by the end of the year. Why? Because they systemize their business. Systems bring scaling growth. And finally, systems and technology, i.e. all the softwares that you need. And I won't go into too much detail for that because I do not know what softwares you guys need. So you see, when we initially start working with business owners or new clients, they have a good idea of what systems they need, but so few actually have these documented and up to date. So what's the result? Nobody uses procedures and systems, and all the work falls back onto the business owner. So as your coach, my job is to hold the business owner to account by supporting them with a plan to systemize the business and keep it that way so that business owners can eventually break away and enjoy a bit of free time. So let's spend a minute over here for you to jot down in which areas of your business do you need to create some systems? In which areas of your business do you need to create a few systems? All to, reduce reliance on you and have the business doing the work. We'll spend a minute over here just talking through that, or we're just helping you think through that. And maybe even share into the chat box as well. What systems do you feel that you need to build to minimize reliance on you? It could be systems around customer service, dealing with all the nuances that customers complain about, often falls into the business owner. Mr. Business Owner, can you make this decision? Should we give them this compensation? Create systems around it. One of my clients, huge accountancy firm in Harrow, we created systems because loads of big complaint-based questions used to go to the owner. We created systems so that staff members can deal with it. Not department heads, just the staff. So think about what kind of systems you need to create around yourself to make yourself more efficient. So when you create systems and leverage, you have a commercial, profitable business that can work. Now the business is doing the work. So now that we have systems in place, we need to give our business a structure for growth through a better team. Now, how many times have you heard a business owner say, we need to hire someone that could just come in and get the job done? We need to hire someone that can come in and get the job done. And well, getting the job done is the easy part, especially if you have systems in place, right? So we need to think about having the right bums on the seat that will actually help grow the business. It's just not just about hiring people to get the job done, but the people that will get the job done and grow the business. Not just because otherwise we'll be in a position where the owner's doing all the thinking again. So the question to ask ourselves is, where do we need to look to hire the best people? On job sites? Are job sites the best place where you can find the best people? Or are the best people already employed? If the best people are already employed, looking at job sites is probably not the right place to go to. But it all depends from industry to industry. Question to ask as well, how will you train them? How will you motivate them? How will you get the best out of them? How will you lead and manage them? So as you can see, there's lots of, the doing is the easy part, it's the learning is the more difficult part. And that's where we can help you understand as business coaches what things to learn, expedite and speed up your learning so you can get on with the doing. Now, when it comes to, sometimes what happens to a business is that typically the business owner has to look after the team and all the challenges that come with looking after a team. Typically also a business owner ends up having to manage the customers, manage the complaints and all the nuances that come with customers. And also typically a business owner has to deal with the business itself, the systems, the processes, etc. And what eventually happens is that there is a big red arrow, a big red ugly arrow, like we see on the screen over here, pointing at the business owner. And they're glued to the business. They can't get away. So this seems to be a bit of a trend during the pandemic when a lot of responsibility is falling onto the shoulders of business owners. The question here is, what can you do? See, when we work with our clients, what we do is we help business owners to reset and rebuild their teams. So first we'll get the business owner to rebuild the team, help the team members create and instill systems so the team can run the systems. Hire and retain and retrain your best staff members, supporting them, motivating them, putting more attention on building the team. Because when your team are reliable and they're great, they look after your customers. And when your customers get looked after, they look after the business through continual custom, through referrals, through good publicity. And then in turn, the business looks after the owner. So as you come out of the pandemic, how much focus are you giving on rebuilding and empowering your team to look after the customers and so on and so forth? Or are you getting straight back into doing things yourself? And this is a vital area to focus on right now. Because if you get this right, the circle right, that's when you have a commercial, profitable business that does the work. And as Richard Branson says, a business's number one asset is its team. And he knows a thing or two about running businesses. So guys, what we're going to do now over here is going to go through the 8 keys to a winning team. Now, I've put Pep Guardiola's picture on there. I don't really like him. He's a great footballer and a great manager as well. But we've got a strong alliance with Pep Guardiola's coach around how to build great teams. And some of the key wisdoms that he shared with us, I'm going to share with you. So right now, given that we're coming out of lockdown, what can you do to get the best out of your teams? See, with a lot of our clients, we're working through 8 key steps. The first is we've really got to instill strong leadership. One second. Sorry. So what we're going to focus on is strong leadership. Provide us, our team members, with steering guidance. How clear is your strategy? Have you articulated your post-lockdown strategy to your team? Are they interested in knowing what your strategy is? So the first thing is giving them that guidance. The second thing is common goal. What common goal do we have? Are they interested in seeing you make profits? Is that what their goal is? No, it's not really. We've got to think about what goal is going to inspire them and not just your bank account. So what common goal do you have that's going to inspire your team members? Thirdly is rules of the game. What rules have you created of how to work from home if your business requires working from home? Are they up in tune with the business protocols? Have you involved them coming up with the rules of the game of how to work from home? Have they bought into it? Number 4 is, have you given them enough steering clarity on what their roles and responsibilities will be in the new lockdown? Roles and responsibilities could have changed. Have you worked with them again? Have you reminded them what their roles and responsibilities are? People forget. I forget. Everyone forgets what their roles and responsibilities are. How often do you talk to them about what they've got to be doing? And have you given them clear KPIs of how their performance will be measured? So this is where a lot of time needs to spend with business owners, and that's where we handhold people to understand how to get your team members have clarity on what they've got to achieve. Are you supporting the staff on making decisions, or is a business owner the only person that can make key choices? Again, creating reliance just on the business owner. So as you come out of lockdown, what do you not train your teams on to take decisions on? 100% involvement and inclusion, avoiding working in silos. Having regular team meetings, getting people involved, knowing what's going on where is vital. Number 7, how much have you invested in your number one asset, which is people? You see, like I said before, Richard Branson, he says in his biography, your number one asset in your business is your people and investing a lot in them. So ask yourself the question for your businesses, how much have you invested in your people and also in yourself? What new processes do you need to go and learn? Do you need to go and rebuild the client service skills, the customer service skills, the team working skills? And finally, how effective is the communication of key information and developments in your business to the rest of the businesses? Are team meetings run in a structured way where great ideas get brought up and then just get forgotten, or get brought up, followed through to the end? Is there accountability? So looking at these 8 keys to a winning team, which 1 or 2 points do you feel you need to work on for your business? So let's spend a minute just thinking that over here. Looking at these key parts of your business. So looking at the 8 keys to a winning team, which one applies to you? And we're almost reaching the end of the session. So I'll wrap up in a few minutes. Brilliant point there, Nimesh. How do we could convince people to change when they don't want to change? Absolutely important. And as a quick answer over there, the answer lies in starting with the why. People change habits. People have habits based on values, and the values need an explanation. Why does that value need to change? So starting with the end in mind, starting with the why, as Simon Sinek says, always start with why, and we can go through that in more detail. Cool. So guys, at this point, what I'd love is your feedback. It's really important to us because with feedback, we can keep tweaking, changing, amending presentations and webinars so you guys get all the right value from that. So all I ask for is 60 seconds. 60 seconds for me to put a link into the chat box where you could answer 4 easy questions. And after you've answered those 4 easy questions, I've got a few quick slides to go through, which is really going to summarize the whole presentation and leave you with a few more action points. So at this stage, I'm going to just stop sharing, put these items into the chat box, a link in the chat box, and if you can please complete the feedback form on now, that'd be wonderful. And then I'll finish off with a few important points for you to talk about. Also, what you'll find is, 1 second. Here we go. I've just popped the feedback forms into the chat box. It will take literally 60 seconds to fill out. Also in the chat, in the feedback forms, I've given an opportunity for you to book in a complimentary gifted coaching session where we've covered a lot of things and you may have lots of question marks in your mind. So what you can do if you like is book yourself in for a one-to-one chat, and you can pick any area of the webinar we've gone through so far, and we can start to help personalize it for you. So you can walk away with more knowledge and exactly how you can do stuff for your area. So Nimesh, can I just ask if you can click onto the link and see if it's actually working? It's the same link as yesterday. I want to make sure it's actually working still.
Yes, it's still working.
Brilliant. So we'll pause it for 60 seconds just to let you finish off filling that out before we take a look at the next couple of points before we wrap up. Okay, so I'll let you finish that off, but I'll move on to the next couple of phases. So after we've really worked on the team, what kind of a business do we have? We have a commercial, profitable business that can work without you. That brings us onto the final two stages, and these two stages are all about multiplication. How do we get this well-oiled machine to multiply? And the final stage is freedom, becoming an investor, looking at what businesses you can actually go and buy, improve, and sell. And with the knowledge and understanding and the accountability you gained from the previous 4 steps of mastering niche, leverage, and team, you've been in a strong position to think about, right, how do we increase our footprint domestically, nationally, internationally? What other businesses can we buy, improve, and sell? And that's when you become a true entrepreneur. So, in summary, we went through plenty. The mastery stage, how clear is your business culture, vision, and mission? What KPIs will you need to look at? How are you consistently ensuring your services are consistent? Niche, how will you stay away from price competition? What USPs and guarantees will you have? We then move on to the 5 ways to grow your profits: leads, conversion, repeat business, using that formula for your business. Like I said, if you feel like having a chat with me to see how you can apply that to your business, feel free to book yourself into a session and we can get something going. Isabel will contact you and book you in. Leverage, which area of your business needs systems to stop the business relying on you? Team, we just spoke about. Which of the 8 areas of a winning team do you need to focus on to get your teams firing on all cylinders? So here are my contact details, but I'd like to leave a few closing words for you. Words can inspire, thoughts can provoke, but only action brings success. So guys, think about all the actions you've written down on your notebooks, put them all into success, put them all into practice, and wishing you a successful time coming out of lockdown, because it's certainly doable. Thank you very much. Over to you, Nimesh.
Thank you, Amit. That was a very impressive presentation, and the level of interactiveness is so great as well. Yeah, I'm hoping you all enjoyed it and learnt something new. There's plenty there I've picked up on just by looking through that one presentation. So by all means, if you want a free consultation with Amit, he's willing to provide that. So do book yourself in. If there's areas that he's spoken about which you want to know more about, then by all means, get in touch with Amit so you can learn more.
Cool. And if not, have a wonderful day, have a smashing week, and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.